All right, Shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites. Come out here week in and week out to prophesy the downfall, the daughter of Babylon, the third Babylon, aka America. But first and foremost, I want to say call Halayim, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakach. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Gadala Rakayim, which is a great millstone, Lashawan Tahar, pure language, where I learned this truth from, and who rule well. Salutations to the Bakiyar, the elect, the 144,000. That's 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel consist of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous of America. The 144,000 being the governing body within the 1/3. The rest of the 1/3 comprises of elect men, women, and children. Shalom to those Israelites scattered due to the diaspora and also the triangular trade. So all people will come looking like different ethnicities, having various complexions. So it's not a black thing. We're not the black Hebrew Israelites. We're just Hebrew Israelites. Shalom to those that died in this truth. It says the dead should be raised up first. Those that will be accompanying Yahweh Shah on his return, including our king, King Mashah, who is King David. And as always, it's an honor and privilege, honor and blessing to continue to do this work. The water Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah Ba'ashim Harakach Wadash, for answering my prayers and permitting me to do such. Baba Kashah Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah Ba'ashim Harakach Wadash. Allow this to be an edifying camp to at least one member of the elect. You know, and another day, you know, the water Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah for directing my steps to another day, another camp. You know, it's according to your will and not mine. You know, first of all, I want to research something real quick, make sure I came up with it. Because a lot of people be stealing my lines, man. I caught this one white bitch, you know, and I know you Congress people, you lawmakers, so-called, but you don't need to make a fucking law. The law's already established. You know? I know you watch our videos, starting with the elder apostles, great millstone. You know, you be stealing information, a lot of you know, you people out there. You know, but one saying I used to always say that I caught this white bitch, they're saying now, in 2025, that she came up with it, which is you deserve what you get and you're gonna get what you deserve. So I want to see if somebody said this before I say it. Let me see. I'm going to ask AR real quick. So it says, no, nobody has ever officially said that line. Which, you know, I know I'm probably gonna watch y'all hear some motherfuckers be saying this shit now. But I was thinking when I was coming to camp and I was putting this lesson together, and I was dealing with trials and tribulations, trials and temptations, you know, and in my mind, the title of the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio came, which was One Battle After Another. You know, and then the Most High put it in my mind, probably, you know, making it manifest after instilling my day's instruction. You know, there's no citations on experience, man. You know, based on, you know, scholarly research and papers that one may write, you have to go and look at all these different sources of information and you have to give citations on them. You know, well, there's no citations for experience or on experience. And you gain experience through adversities, man. And we all have our own measure of adversities that we have to go through as the hopeful elect to be delivered out of this God-forsaken place, man. You know? So, without further ado, I'm going to start with the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, which is in your Apocrypha. Just bear with me, my mom's going a few places right now. Has some notifications pop up on the phone. But this is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, in your Apocrypha, chapter 2, verse 1. It says, my son, and you know, contrary to popular belief, the Most High is really only dealing with men. You know? And another thought that came to my mind about these women, man, as they already say that, you know, the most dangerous place for a so-called person on this sign is in the womb of, you know, the so-called, you know, black woman, or the Jake woman. You know, and it's set up that, you know, even before the spirit is given and sent to the embryo by Yahweh, you know, it was a war. It was that woman trying to kill you. You know, dealing with sperma and how a man could, you know, ejaculate millions, if not billions, of sperm, but only one is gonna make it, because the whole time this bitch is trying to kill you. Her body is set to try to, you know, destroy that sperm, man. Not going into, you know, much scientific detail, but it's her body's defense mechanism, man. You know? And if we're born here, we're all a part of that victory, a part of that, you know, that war that was fought in the womb, man. And so when we're born, you know, leading to our deaths, we go through temptations, we go through trials and errors. We win some, we lose some, you know? And then you start to gain that experience and you start to acquire more faith as it's a gift. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, you know, you put your full trust in them, you just let go of the will, so to speak, in righteousness. You know, whatever happens, happens. It's the Most High's will. But I'd rather him lead my steps in righteousness instead of wickedness, especially if I gotta be here, man. Especially if I gotta be in this raggedy ass fucking world, you know, that I always had a problem with, the wickedness of this place. You know, if I gotta be here, I'd rather be being directed in righteousness than in wickedness, man. And I always say that, you know, I've been saying it, if I'm wicked, then, you know, may Yahweh Shem Yahweh destroy me, man. Just as I said, if I stop doing the work, put curses on me. But, you know, through a miraculous miracle, the Most High, even today, going on 16 years, and all the one battles after another, he directed my steps to do his will, man. And this is a righteous thing, man. I'm not on this altar sacrificing onto you madness, man. I'm sacrificing onto you lies. You know, sometimes I might talk about certain situations, and it's really just me talking to the Most High. Me crying out to the Most High to make, you know, things right. Not according to my will, but according to his will. You know? And that's part of that trials, that's part of the temptation, because it all starts in your mind, man. You know, this is a mental battle, right? It says, if thou come to serve Yahweh Shai, prepare thy soul for temptation. So the Most High put the spirit on men to serve him. You know, it even goes into that in John. St. John chapter 15 verse 16, it says, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. You know? So the way I look at it, the Most High has chose me either for life or death, man. And if I can't have life, then yeah, just go put me to death. If I ain't of the elect, then shit, I don't want to waste my time being a part of the problem. And I'm good, man. I'll be in my, hey, when we go back to the spirit world, we're all in our right mind anyway, man. You know? But, you know, nobody has ever done what I've done as far as longevity and the level of, what's the word? I guess you could say rebuke, which really wasn't rebuke, more so personal attacks. You know, talking behind my back, wishing death upon me, which is cool. That's how you feel. You know? Everyone is entitled to their opinion or their, you know, their little emotions. You know? But if Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is for me, then who could be against me? Because, you know, I know the angels are watching at all times, man. And I know Yahweh Shai seen my efforts and the dedication and the I guess you could say the will without limits. Because there's no barrier if it's his will that's going to keep me from doing his will, man. That's why, you know, we even got the Passover, the Pesach coming up, man. I believe Wednesday night. You know, and Yahweh Shai Ratazah, just as all years, I'm fortunate and thankful to be allowed to participate. reflecting of all the hell that was caught throughout the year. Just as Yahweh Shah caught all the hell before, his sacrifice, which in my mind, when I first came into the truth, in my mind was to be a sacrifice, for Yahweh Shah. And the ultimate form of sacrifice is being willing to die for another brother, man. So it's the Most High who chose us. And we're in a time in which all hell is about to break loose. They say something's going to happen this Passover. Because, this is one of the few years that the solar calendar aligned with the lunar when concerning the Passover. So those small hats, as men say, they're celebrating it the same time. So, something major is in the air, man. It says, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. And that's the thing, man. Sometimes you try to ask for humility, especially when those blessings come through like crazy, man. Like, man, okay, it's too much, man. Let me experience some hardship, because tough times make men, and you will want to have that experience of going through tough times. You don't want that peachy keen shit. And if you do want that peachy keen shit, then the best thing to do is to ask for balance, man. Ask the Most High to, put balance in your life, so you do have good times and you have bad times. But those times are meant to assess yourself, your spirit. Are you too proud during the good times, or are you too unfaithful during the bad times, man? And when you have a record, when you're keeping track of the pattern that, when you be praying for certain things that they actually come to pass, then that's a sign that, Yahweh Shah Ratazah, that the Heavenly Father is looking on you in his favor, man, no matter what man thinks or what man says. And that in itself is all a part of the battles that we fight. The experience that you can't cite, right? CITE. And we all are gonna have our own stories to tell, man. And no one's story is better than the others, except, no one is to exceed the glorification of Yahweh Shah. And no one never could, or ever could. It says, these things I command you, that ye love one another. And love comes in many forms, man. You could send charity, agape. Sometimes you might even be, looking out and doing it in secret. And I have a problem with being denied my blessings, you know. And, you know, sometimes I used to give excuses. Or I just don't want to do this, or I just don't want to do that. But really, in my heart, in my mind, I really wanted that person to have it or take it, because I always felt like, you know, I was doing it for Yahweh Shah, man. I was being that sacrifice I agreed to be before I came into this truth. It says, if you were of the world would love his own. And that's how I know a lot of, well, I don't know. But that's how you see, you know, when people get disenchanted and they fall back into the world, really their heart, their mind was always of the world, man. They didn't want to see this damn devil go down. They wanted to stay in Babylon forever. The forever purge, or the forever slave. You know, but I guess some men, they continue in the work that they're in because they didn't set an exit strategy. They didn't set a backup plan. You know, they didn't set alternative or a plan A, B, C, and D. You know, some of us set up the alternative is just death. And don't get mad about another man's alternative, man. You know? Especially when it's to do righteousness. To do righteousness and do the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Because later down the road, your alternative could have been getting popped in your fucking ass. Or just being a weirdo. Which is like telling somebody to suck your you-know-what in certain parts of this country. I've been starting to call these niggas coochie. You know? You gotta make that word coochie great again, man. You know, and all you niggas that went back into the world, you ain't nothing but a bunch of slimy coochies. That the whole time you sitting on the front lines, and these are the front lines. You know, you thinking about plan A, B, C, and D. My only alternative is death. Feeling like Erica Kirk. You know that Juicy skit. You stare in the camera and get your eyes all looking all crazy. I can't even do no demonic. I just was looking demonic. I can't do that. You know, but yeah, there's a lot of people that we're gonna start seeing. A lot of you niggas that claim to be Israelites. We're gonna really see what you're really made of, man. Let's see how many alternatives you have. A lot of you, your alternative is to just be a sodomite. And allowing your woman to pop you in your ass. If that ain't, and then or if the spirit had you go into that situation, you know, his demonic women, because that's what they are, demonic. You know, some call them trash trolls, some call them a pack of crows. You know, gargoyles, whatever name that you can describe them. You know, you basically allowed that demon to demasculinize you and make you a coochie. And it turns out he was doing it the whole time. Right? It says, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. So you gotta accept that hate, man. You know, it is what it is. Until you start to believe the word is garner the same sentiment toward them, man. know, if you ain't with us, then you're against us. If you ain't with Yahweh Shah, then you're against Yahweh Shah, man. You know? See, it says, remember the word that I said unto you. The servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. And that persecution comes spiritually, man. That's why it says good is set against evil, man. That's why I pray before I get in this fucking car, man. That's why I pray before I leave the fucking house. That's why I just pray if I have a problem with somebody. Prayers go a long way. Hey, I even prayed to come out here, man. You know, I didn't really get that much sleep, so I'm a little groggy. But, you know, my workload is heavy, which is okay. It keeps me out of trouble, you know? But continue, it says, if they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. Because his or ours is his. And that's one of the battles that you fight in this truth, man. It's a spiritual battle, because these people don't know you from Tom, Dick, or Harry, man. But that demon from the left-hand side hops on them to, you know, try to agitate you. Like when I was pulling up to, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but it follows what I'm talking about. When I was pulling up to the store, there'd be this, I want to say he's an Ishmaelite, man. You know, which is also pointing toward Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua starting to put these curses on these heathens, man. You know, but I could hear him talking shit because he does narcotics, so, you know, he allowed those spirits and those demons to enter into him, which he probably got all types of demons, talking to himself, cussing people out, you know, cussing the air out. Then he was like, when I pulled up, he was talking shit about my car, man. He said something about the transmission and something about something, and this other Jake woman looked back, and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck a nigga gotta say in his lot is to stand in front of the liquor store and be crazy, man. And aside from the car, how many of you demonic filled niggas is gonna pray for something and the Most High knows exactly what you want and he gives it to you? You could just stop at the spiritual level, man. And these are the examples of, you know, the world hating you. Also, as you are walking in the image of Yahweh Shah, man. They don't like your beard on your face. You know, they don't like that you don't get, you know, edge ups. You know? They don't like how you dress. But I didn't know it was a fashion show. But that's, the pride of this place. It's all bullshit and games. And that pride is going to be taken out, man. It says, but all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. Right, and even when I at first started doing the work in Sacramento, man, one of the first couple of camps, a motherfucker came up with a knife about this big and shit. He had his bitch with him, man. And anything could have happened, but the angels were right there, man. That nigga was he was on one, probably on drugs. He didn't like what the word was saying. I don't really care about your feelings, but, I'll hold back the intensity to assess the situation, But the Most High nipped that in the bud, man. And he put the spirit on me to stand tall without fear, man. Now, last night I kind of got a little bit beside myself. And I kind of rebuked myself this morning about it, because I thought they was shooting right outside the fucking, the fucking damn near right outside the window, which they were in the parking lot. And I'm like, damn, these motherfuckers is getting, and it was like some semi-auto, it was big booming. And then I was like, damn, and then, those crazy thoughts race in your mind, which, goes into these people that don't have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding being unstable, because they're gonna have all types of thoughts going in their mind on what they should do or how they should react, and I didn't react the way that I wanted to. I was kind of hesitant, trying to think, oh, what should I do? Should I just, not even give a fuck? But it was so close. Or should I get down, maybe, because the way these apartments are what do they call, plotted or founded? The foundation is like a little slight elevation, so if you were at ground level, you could easily, if you were shooting into apartments or a stray bullet, it could easily go into, these apartments or whatever, or even if you were on the ground, But not to sound all fucking weird, I had, got a little panicked and got on a knee. And, then I would start thinking about the past, on how I never did none of that shit. Because if I was going to go, I'm going to go. I'm just going to trust in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. So I got my ass up off that knee and got back to regularly scheduled programming, man. And they were still firing off until the spirit was on me to go take a look, see if I could see some brains and guts or something. And I'll just be talking shit sometimes. But, the joke's on me, man, because it was nothing but fucking fireworks. And that kind of made me disgusted, because, you want to have ironclad faith in these days, man. And then, I wrestle with my thoughts as well, like, well, you gotta be reasonable. You want to have that faith, that unwavering faith, but you also want to You also want to be smart about it. Now, the word smart ain't defined how it was originally defined, which was defined as being pain. You know? But today they equate it to quick wit. You know? So every day, even if you have a faith that could move a mountain, right? There's nothing wrong with praying for more faith. It says, but all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak. They can't hide it, because they know what sin is, for their sin. He that hateth me, so if you hate Yahushua, hateth my Father also. So you can't be denying Yahushua, but in the same breath saying that you accept the Heavenly Father. And it's turning out that those people that live in our land, they don't respect the Messiah, man. We're starting to see that they believe in the same Satanism that I used to say that it was as Christianity. I remember I started calling Christians Satanists and Christianity Satanism. I remember the Most High put the Spirit on me to denounce that shield of Magon, or I think that's how you say it, or Magon of David. That shield of David shit, man. And there was all types of controversy centered around that after that, man. Until the conclusion was that shit is off. You know? So if you hate Yahushua, then you don't have the Father, man. That's why it's imperative to proclaim that name. And only the elect are going to praise his holy name no matter what. You know? I'm more so offended that you individuals out there actually thought I was going to stop doing the work. And then even more offended that when we were cool and it was nothing but peace, and you were acting like fucking Donald Trump, you know, calling ceasefires and peace negotiations just to fucking nuke the negotiators by talking shit. As long as I know the truth and I perform the truth, I don't fear consequence, man. Because if I have to die because of the truth, then so be it, man. And let it be a beautiful death. You know? Verse 24, if I had not done among them the works which now other men did, they had not had sin, but now have they both seen and hated both me and my Father. So just imagine all the good works that Yahushua did, and he still got turned on. They still talk shit about him. A lot of you probably would have kicked him out of the camp. Or looked down upon him because, you know, there's a spirit out there too that the Most High is for lack of better words, dissipating. Is a lot of you that are in the southern kingdom, you really have hatred for those that are in the north, and vice versa, man. And you probably had that animosity from your upbringing, which the Spirit revealed that. A lot of you Northern Kingdom tribes are taught to hate the Southern Kingdom, man. And they're trying to rectify that and try to mend relations, as people are starting to see that we're all in the same fucking boat, man. What did he say? He said, on a razor blade flowing down a alcohol river with no paddle. I think that's what he said in that movie, Juice. It says, but this cometh to pass that the word might be fulfilled, that is written in their law, they hated me without a cause. Right, so that's acceptable, because Yahweh Shai, he already went through certain situations where the Most High sent spirits on individuals to hate him without a cause, man. Just as the Most High sends spirits on individuals in your lot to hate you without a cause, man. And that's a part of these battles that we fight, man. That's the condition of the battle. It says, but when the Comforter is come, which is the Holy Spirit, which is the angels that are working your mind, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. And ye also shall bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning. And if you were with Yahweh Shai from the beginning, there's nothing nobody could do about it. There's nothing nobody could say. There's no deaths to you that anybody could utter. There's nothing no one could do. Because this is of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. And the elect, and hopefully I'm of the hopeful elect, they were with Yahweh Shai from the beginning. I just wish that I was more on the level of how our forefathers were back in the ancient world, man. I kind of marveled at that when I was thinking about, the minds of these kings and how, sharp they were. Because I was watching the period piece about the Battle of Thermopylae, because, the title was a clickbait title. It was talking about the things that, the horrific things that you didn't know about King Leonidas, which they didn't even say nothing bad, man. But going back to Sirach chapter 2, and I'm going to start at the top again. It says, my son, if thou come to serve Yahweh Shai, prepare thy soul for temptation. So what's the word for temptation? 12th century, temptation, act of enticing someone to sin. And there's a lot of things that will entice people to sin, man. Especially here in the worst of the worst places in history you could be in, man. So much bad that even this city that I'm standing in, which I don't even know why I'm here anymore, it gotta be for a good reason. But this city right here is named Sin City, man. So this battle that we're fighting is everywhere, man. Just like in that movie, The Matrix, he didn't know at first what he knew toward the end when his faith was at a certain level, man. And then when he got near, or I should say when he got to God mode, you know, when he had all the faith, then he could start seeing with his eyes closed, man. Because remember, they got burnt off and melted. But he could still see. He saw everything. His steps were glowing. He saw the machines coming out of the sewer cracks. But he had to build up to that level, man. And the way that you build up to that level in this truth is through prayer, man. And, fasting if you need to, man. So that's what we have to prepare ourselves for, man. It says, set thy mind aright and constantly endure. So this is a constant endurance. Let's get that word, endurance. Late 15th century, continued existence in time. Continued existence in time. Ability to bear suffering. And when I look at Job, man, Job, he took it on the chin, but he wasn't, when you read the stories and the conversations that he had with his three friends, Job didn't take all that well. But he still kept his integrity in not blaming or cursing Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Because if he didn't take it well, or if he did take it well, then Yahweh wouldn't have told him to gird his fucking loins up, man. Which it wasn't him pulling up his pants. It was about him getting his mind, getting his mental together, man. Because that's where this war is fought, in your mind. It says, and make not haste in time of trouble. Right, make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. So I'm going to go to the word temptation. Which I don't think that's what that means. So I'm going to go to the word prepare. In the Lashawan Tahar Kawan, to set firm, establish, brace for impact. And how do you do that? You have to be engulfed in this word, right? Going to AI commentary, it says the moment a man steps into this truth, right, the Most High begins the refining cycle. So unlike these false religions of the world, when you accept, or I should say when Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua calls you, and you accept the invitation by putting your hand to the plow, then that's when you start that refining cycle. Because truth be told, I knew about the Israelites long before I came into a great millstone camp. And I was studying about a year and a half in, watching other camps, and being on MySpace, I think it was at that time, before it went to Facebook. But I really didn't start to learn anything, and that's even me watching, these other camps' videos. I really didn't start to learn in the spirit poured into me that the understanding until after I came into the camp. You know? It says this is the first battle, the internal war. Before Jacob's trouble hits the world, the elect experience a personal Jacob's trouble, a training ground for the final hour. And that final hour is the hour of temptation, man. You know? Where you're going to be tested. You're going to be tried. This is 1 Peter's. And sometimes, man, you catch so much hell, you looking forward to the next test. In your own little sick spiritual pathway, man. I say spiritual path, not social path. And I hope nobody steals that. I'm spiritual pathic. But this is 1 Peter's chapter 4. 1 Peter's chapter 4. I had it right. Verse 12, it says, Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, the fiery test, right? Which is to try you, which is to test you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. You know? So, it's not strange because there's other brothers that are going through the same thing, man. And it's not strange because, you know, these are things that you learn when you're reading the scriptures, man. They don't teach you these things, these stories, these, you know, points in history, these experiences in these churches, man. You know, when they say, when you come to serve the Lord, the trees are going to blossom, you're going to become rich. You know, you're going to deal with your problems by becoming rich. Like on some Leonardo shit, near the Wolf of Wall Street. You're going to have prosperity. You're going to have a wife. You're going to have a house. You're going to have a house with a white picket fence. It's all bullshit, man. Because that lifestyle is not what's to come. That lifestyle is not preparing you for what is taking place. And it will never prepare you, man. Comfortability will never prepare you for hard times, man. And that's something that I pray for too, man. So I could have the experience in, you know, the mental conditioning of what it is and how to deal with suffering, man. Going through things, losing things, you know. Because that suffering makes you stronger in your relationship and your trust with Yahweh Shah, man. And then also that hell that you catch when death is present, you know, you don't give a shit. If it be Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah's will, let his will be done. It says, but rejoice inasmuch as ye are partakers of Hamashiach's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If we be reproached, or in other words, shamed, for the name of Hamashiach, and you know, that has been going on, man. There's individuals out there that shame other men for the name of Yahushua, man. There's very immense power in that name, man. And if you don't believe in that name, then what power do you have? You know, it says, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and of the Most High resteth upon you. On their part, he is evil spoken of. And you're starting to see the differences. The spirit of glory is not resting on every single Israelite, man. It's not resting on all these camps. There's always been a line or a lineage line that the Most High has chose, and he has done the same way or the same thing with his truth, with his word, giving it to choice men that no matter what, no matter the situation, no matter, you know, whether they want to or not, they're going to come out here and stand firm for the name of Yahushua, man. And if anybody don't like that, or it coming from me, you know, then I'm just going to pray to Yahushua, which I've been doing every single time. You know? Your faith needs to be at a point where people need to be in fear just by you threatening them, spiritually threatening them, that you're going to pray onto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Ba'ashem Harakha Kodash. You know? Because all over the years, I always talked about, you know, different things that I prayed for, or, you know, I even tried to do a little experiment, and the experiment came to pass. Just to boost the other brother's faith. That if you pray, things will get answered. It might not happen on your time, but it's going to happen on his time. And usually his time is at the last millisecond, man. Bird. He said, but of your part he is glorified. So if I gotta be, you know, subjected to be in this wicked ass world, then I'm gonna be in this wicked ass world doing righteous things and glorifying Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua to the best of my ability. Yeah, I do have faults, and I'm working on it, but the Most High, he's been doing a miraculous work, man. You know, damn near 180. And then I came across individuals who was talking about we have to tone back our intensity, you know, our drive, our passion in certain things, man. And then, you know, I was thinking to myself and said, man, I ain't turning down shit. I want all the intensity. I want all the fire, man. You know, that burn, that sensation to get your ass up when you fucking know you don't want to get the fuck up. And you even get back in the bed. And then that's that intensity is like, nah, you got to get the fuck up. And, you know, if you ain't doing it for yourself, do it for your Yahushua, man. Because he tried to, you know, see if there was another way. He didn't want to get up on that cross for us, man. I believe he got on that cross for us. You know? And that's something that he prayed not to see if there was another way to go about it. But once the Most High didn't answer him, he said, this is the only way. And he just dealt with it, man. And I could never be on that level in this world, in this body, man. But I can be on that level when I'm in the kingdom. It says, but let none of you suffer as a murderer or as a thief or as an evildoer or as a busybody in other men's matters. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, which should be as a believer in Yahweh Shai, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify the Most High on this behalf. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And we're starting to see all the judgment, man. And it's going to get even worse. And it might get worse for even you that are looking forward in the demise of others, man. Because you got some of those individuals out here not knowing that they might be the one that slipped into the ditch. It says, and if it first began at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel, the good news of Yahweh? So it's probably going to happen this Passover, man. Or I should say before, on, or after, even during. There's going to be people being put to death, man, that know that they're Israelites. There might be some that a lot of you people even had love and affection for, that you thought was surefire men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. This has already happened. It says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, when something is scarce, it's very limited. So salvation is going to be very limited. It's going to be so many people, erased, that these cities are going to be, left 2 or 3. It says, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Right, they're not going to appear because they're going to be dead, man. Their spirits are going to be, on the transition back to the spirit world. Wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of the Most High commit the keeping of their souls to Him in well-doing, and doing this work is that well-doing, man. And, all the things that come with doing the work. As unto a faithful Creator. And if the Most High puts the Spirit on me, because it has to come from Him, then I'm going to for sure do it. I don't need no one to call me. I don't need no one to send a text. I don't need none of that shit. To do what's right in the eyes of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, man. So therefore, I assume he sends that, he turns on that light switch of intensity, that burning that even Jeremiah spoke about, and he directs my steps to do his will, man. And you know, I'm not a nigga when I leave camp, because I don't have no room to be, man. I don't have no time to be. Now, I do certain nigga shit. You know, I might leave fucked up comments here or there, which I'm praying for the Most High to take that spirit away. I'd rather be in the spirit of, you know, as I was alluding to earlier, the sharpness of those ancient kings that, you know, use few words, and the words that they use hit like a hammer, man. You know? And I'm sure it's gonna happen. Just as, you know, I saw the workings of when I was always praying for, you know, the Most High to take that the taste for alcohol away. You know, and he, not that I trust in Esau, but he directed me to rehab way back years ago. You know, and all the shit that I had to go through with that. You know? It's hard to stop doing something the Most High is not putting the spirit on you to stop doing, man. And it's a blessing when he finally does put the spirit on you to stop doing certain shit. It's called repenting. And a lot of people don't have a repenting spirit because they continue to do the same bullshit. Because that's just them. Going to AI in the Lashuan Quadash keywords for fiery trial, Taza Rop, smelting metal, removing impurities. So this is part of the hell that we catch, the battles that we go through. This is part of removing impurities, man. You know, you want to be as much as aligned with Yahweh Shah as possible, because that's the spirit that Yahweh delights in, man. And you know, sometimes we're referred to as spiritual hoes or whatever of Yahweh Shah, because we come out here and walk these, well, not walk these streets, but work these corners faithfully. You know, you want to do the things that are pleasing to your master. And if you're not doing the things that are pleasing to your master, then you want to offer your neck, you know, and die with integrity. The word try, bakan, examine, prove, authenticity. So I always felt like these trials, these tests were all designed to see if you were gonna fold, man. Also to mold you into that individual that you need to be spiritually in order to deal with the days ahead. The time of Jacob's trouble, and within the time of Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation, when they're gonna push out that MOTB, the micro C hip, man, which is right around the corner, man. Says breakdown, the fiery trial is not random, it's a refiner's furnace. Every battle is designed to burn off weakness and build spiritual durability. before the elect face the beast system, they must first face themselves. And that's the number one battle, is ourselves, man. It's within our mind and it's ourselves, because we're in this wicked ass flesh. You know? And that's what these people in these churches, they just don't understand. Like that one Will Smith song, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Parents just don't understand. These churches, they just don't understand, so how can they give you the understanding, man? That's why it says in Acts, the 7th chapter, 48th verse, the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, man. You know? So how would they know about Yahweh Shem Yahushua? How would these Christians know, or these so-called Christians, because the only way you could be considered a Christian, you will have to be an Israelite, man. And that's just you going into the history in that time period. A lot of you stupid people, you don't even go into no history. You don't even see history repeating itself. You know? But this is 2nd Ezra, or Ezra's chapter 16, verse 74. It says, "Hear, O ye my beloved, saith Yahweh Shah, behold, the days of trouble are at hand." And they're here. You know? I think despite the propaganda that America and Israel is pushing, I think in the Middle East fighting Iran, their numbers are coming for nothing. And I think, you know, speculation that those U.S. Marines that they sent, they're going to be dead by the end of the week, man. And they might drive Donald Trump to call for a national draft and, you know, try to finally get approval from Congress to go to war with Iran. If not, they're going to do a false flag, man. You know, to justify full mobilization. Which none of these countries, besides I want to say Iran, have even gone into full mobilization, martial law, wartime, all for nothing, man. All or nothing. But that day is coming, man. It says, "But I will deliver you from the same." So you have to have faith that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem HaRakwadash is going to deliver you from this trouble that is going to take place, man. Got a little bit. Hey, Brock y'all, man, see what I'm saying? Brock y'all Ba'ashem Yahushua, the water y'all Ba'ashem Yahushua, Salaki y'all Ba'ashem Yahushua. You know, it was 1:44. Just as I went to go look at the time. You know? And, you know, the reason why I like to give praise like that every time I see those certain numbers is to have another opportunity just to praise them, man. You know? And I see those numbers all the time. Especially when, you know, you playing those fucking video games like Madden. I always see 144, 44, 1, you know, spiritual numbers. Verse 75, it says, "Be ye not afraid, neither doubt." So it says, "Be ye not afraid, neither doubt." And the Most High is going to increase that spirit on his men. To not be afraid, to not doubt. For the Most High is your guide. Right, we're all being led by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, whether it be on the left hand or the right hand, man. And if I have to be in this world, I'd rather be led in righteousness, man. And if I'm not of the elect, then I'd rather die and go back to the spirit world, so I have an opportunity to come back being righteous. It's not the end all be all, man. But I do have a problem with being a part of the problem if I'm the problem. Right? It says, "In the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith Yahweh, let not your sins weigh you down." So are we going to sin? Yeah, we're going to sin, man. But there's always hope, as long as it wasn't the sin of blasphemy, which it's impossible for Jake to blaspheme, man. And due to Esau blaspheming the Heavenly Father and His Son, he's promised no mercy. You know? It says, "And let not your iniquities lift up themselves." Right, so you got to be mindful of your conduct, your actions. You know? And make sure you're spiritually aligned with the right alignment. This is Lashawan Kadash. Keywords: insurrection, Sarath, root, uprising, violent, rising. The word for guide, Nakah, to lead, direct, protect. So you want to be led righteously in your battles, the battles that you face, one after another. You want to be led in protection, right? You want to be directed in righteous ways, man. So you have to consider, if you're not being led, if you're not being guided, if you're not being protected, then is the Most High really dealing with you? You know, if you're not increasing in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, is the Most High really dealing with you? You know? Because even Jeremiah was like, fuck this, I don't want to do it no more. And that's the spirit that you get from time to time. But then you get that intensity, that fire that burns within, man. That consuming fire, man. That gets your ass up on the go. So going back to Copilot, says this is the external battle, the world collapsing into chaos. Ezra sees martial law, famine, and civil breakdown. The elect are told not to fear because Yahweh becomes their guide, literally leading them through the collapse. So how many of these heathen nations and these non-believers and those that think the Bible's a fairy tale, how many of them are going to be guided through this economic collapse, this World War III, the pestilence that's 1,000 times worse than what happened in 2020, and all the chaos, the civil war that's going to happen on the streets when people are woken to the reality that they lost everything, man. Everything that they worked hard in sin, right, was all for naught. Everything that they inspired to be was all for naught. This is Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. And this is the times that we're in now. And it's just going to get even worse. They're even saying on the battlefield is intensifying, man. You know? But everybody driving about 5 or 10 miles below the speed limit because they think that's what's going to conserve their gas. But gas is still going to get more and more expensive, man. And I can't wait. Especially when there ain't that many MFers on the road, man. Because, hey, a lot of you be driving drunk. You be driving on narcotics, crashing your shit like Tiger Woods. The fourth time. You know, you be driving high. It says, it is even the time of Jacob's trouble, which is really is going to encompass everybody, though. You know, but the people on this song, they're going to be targeted as they're being targeted now. But he is only dealing with the elect. The elect men, women, and children shall be saved out of it. And they're going to be saved through so-called UFOs, man. Which those are the chariots of Israel. Those are our Air Force. And that's what's going to bug a lot of you people out when you seeing people being extracted by so-called UFOs while you see those thermonuclear missiles bombarding America as if it's playing whack-a-mole. You know? And then a lot of you people going to know a prophet have been among you, man. Because even at the door, you see the spirit that these people are in, man. They're in a lackadaisical spirit. These women think that they worth more than what they are. Like, some of you, you're not even that attractive. You fat, out of shape. You know, you don't hit the gym. You know, you got hella kids. You got adult children and you got preteens. And then you get mad or you get offended when a nigga want to ask you a sexual question. Which that's you women being a fucking demon. Because that's anti-God. That's what they call an antichrist. Because, hey, it tells you in Genesis, the first chapter, what was one of the things he told men to do. Be fruitful and multiply, man. How the fuck is your lineage gonna come back? Through a donkey's ass? But you women do that because you want some sort of control. You want a man to listen to you fucking talk. Like in that movie Batman. What makes you think I want to hear you talk? And every fucking profile, if you on these social media dating sites, it's always about communication. Man ain't designed to communicate, man, with you fucking women. Like we're best friends or something. No. I'm the head honcho and you're the servant with special privileges. And if you ain't worth shit, I'm gonna treat you what you worth. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a sexual question, even though the first one that talks about it loses, because it's all a fucking game, and I don't like playing games, so I want to get straight to the nitty gritty, man. I'm not gaming no bitch up. It's either you want to get popped or you don't. One thing I told her, I was like, I'm looking for who God got looking for me. So it's not me that is looking at you as a fucking prize. It should be you looking at me as the prize. Mind you, I'm spiritual pathic. I'm a spiritual path. Can't say social path, but a spiritual path. That's the only way I could describe the spirit that this truth makes men be in, man. You know? But then it goes back to Isaiah, the 4th chapter, the 1st verse. There's going to be a point in time real soon that a lot of you stupid women that don't even look good, despite especially you nigga bitches, man, that don't even look good. You know, you just alright, you fuckable, you know? What are you going to do when all hell breaks loose, man? And then the Most High is putting the spirit on men to reject you and your advances. Because, hey, you ever been with a woman where the Most High put the spirit on her to be so into you that she can't control herself? I'm talking about that type of spirit that, you know, she getting broke down as soon as you touch down. She want to get it. And she could have just met you. And I experienced that several fucking times in life. And a lot of those times produced long relationships. You know? So really when these women talk about all the try to stand on the shit that they stand on, really they just want a fucking free meal, man. They want a nigga to go take them out here to the bar, the casino, the concert, the basketball game, the hockey game, the football game, and spend his fucking ducats, man. Otherwise, what's the point of dating? In my eyes, I don't know, brother could do whatever the hell they want to do. I'm not gonna shit on you. I was shitted on for just, you know, deciding, hey, to eliminate the possibility of committing adultery. I'll just fuck with prostitutes and pay for it. And I got thrown under the bus for that. I wonder if Judah was under the same bus or Hosea was under the same bus. And all the other men in the scriptures that the Most High told to deal with a prostitute, man. Which all these bitches is prostitutes. I don't like the conversation part. You know, I don't like the courting phase, especially with these bitches that done been with hella men already. It's either you fucking or I ain't fucking with you. And, you know, for the most part, hey, if I pray for you, I'm gonna get you. It happened a couple years back. I had prayed for this Gadite. Ended up getting her, man, she was one of them ones. And then, earlier last year, I had got with this Edomite chick, man. And these are the type of, I have relationships with them, and these are the type of bitches that are above a 5 or a 6. That, you know, the Most High put the spirit on them to allow me to go ahead and pop their ass. You know, the white chick was, it could have been the first night, but that was on my part. But it was like the second or third time I seen her. The Gadite was like the first day. You know? And then I guess, shit, maybe you should get to know a bitch before you pop her, but but hey, things happen the way the Most High wants them to happen. And you know, those are from basically praying. Please, Most High. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because a lot of people, what they like to do is they'll say an elder said this or an elder said that, to try to make them seem as if they're more valid because they said an elder said it, or, somebody that don't want to hear or don't want nobody to hear the opposing party, they'll just say, oh, well, he's a known liar, lying about him being a known liar. So everything that comes out of the person's mouth, you totally disregard, man. But the whole time, you the one fucking lying. But it goes to breakdown. It says, this is the climatic battle, the final pressure. Tazara means being squeezed into a narrow place like a nation under siege. But the prophecy guarantees the elect escape through divine intervention, not human strength. And that's all I got is divine intervention, man. That's who I got behind me, the angels. The death angels, the Mawath Alahayim, man. As much shit I talk on these city streets here, or even out there, I should have got jumped and my ass beat being out here solo dolo, man. From small, medium, big, and tall. The Most High has kept that spirit on me to stand firm, man. And I only got into one, I didn't even fight nobody. The other brothers got hit up. And when I did my little Bob, whatever, that little Mike Tyson, they call it, I forget the exact term of it. And then I did like a hook. You gotta keep your elbows. Did like a hook. And it missed. But you saw immediately the spirit in this Edomite's eyes. He was like, no, I'm cool. I don't want to fight. After they done jacked up a few brothers that were there. Then you hear about brothers getting in the fights at camp, man. To the point you gotta wonder, is the Most High really protecting you? I don't need to knock on wood. Yahweh Shah said, your faith has made you whole. So going back to AI, or let me get a precept. This is Revelation chapter 3. Verse 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, which patience goes into suffering, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which the hour of temptation is that time period in which they make the MOTB mandatory, which is going to be anytime soon. And it's going to happen during World War III. Because how else would America be surrounded, sieged, blockaded, pursuing to Jeremiah 50 and 29, which that was a precept that, the Most High revealed to me a little later, that would have to mean that their military done got wiped out. If all these nations are encamped around about it in battle array, man. So nothing can escape, nothing can come in and nothing can come out. And you have to think it's going to happen quick, because there still has to be an army intact in order to fight Yahweh Shah on his return, man. So things are going to happen quick, man. And it's going to happen during the Passover, I believe. It might not be this year's Passover, it might be next year's Passover. it says, what shall come upon mouth is dry. Which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So this technology is going to be pushed throughout the whole world, just as that 2020 jump shot, man. You even had individuals going to the Amazon or going to these lost tribes talking about how they're trying to give them the shot. But Esau's such a damn devil, he just carpet bombed those people, man, and not give it two shits. And that's exactly the type of individual you're gonna have to be dealing with in these times, in the time of Jacob's trouble, man. Somebody that's bloodthirsty. And he's the ultimate vampire, man. You know? This dude would shoot successive Tomahawk missiles into a schoolgirl's building. You know? All the atrocities that you're becoming aware of, dealing with the Epstein files, which I don't even read none of that shit. I've been reading this shit since I was in fucking junior high, dealing with conspiracies about them eating children and popping kids and shit like that. Because I remember when I was about to get signed to this record label, the producer and the owner of the record label, because it was an indie record label, he was all into that, and he got me into that. He was a so-called, I think he was a Jake. He had a brother. He reminded me of those two white boys in the Boondocks. You know, hella niggerish. So they probably were niggas. You know, white chocolate, you know, covered niggas. But he got me into that. He got me into playing that Counter-Strike video game, among other things, man. So I've been known that been known about this stuff, man. You people are just starting to come aware of it because some white boy is telling you, as if they got the fucking truth. It says, behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, which is this truth. That no man take thy crown. That no man take thy crown. And you even got individuals that call themselves Israelites that is trying to make sure that you don't get no crown. Going back to co-pilot Lashawan Kwadash, the word for keep, shamar, hedge, about, guard, preserve. You know, so the Most High is going to keep you in that hedge where the angels are protecting you, man. There is an unseen world. And I believe, you know, maybe the reason why people die with that look on their face and their eyes wide open is because they see that death angel taking them, man. As you know, there was accounts of people seeing angels, you know, guiding the bullets. Word for temptation, P-eramos, P-arasmas. Tongue-tied. Pe-aramas. It says trial of loyalty. And my whole lot has been a trial of loyalty, man. Your lot has been a trial of loyalty if you still in this thing, man. If you still believe. If you ain't change up. You know, like a pit crew. If you stayed the same. Teaching the right things. Teaching the truth. I'd rather tell and teach show someone the truth, because the truth hurts than telling them a lie, and the lie proves that I fear that person, and I don't fear none of you niggas, man. Because you're nothing but flesh and blood, man. You know? Breakdown. It says, this is the battle of allegiance, the MOTB hour. The Most High promises a hedge around those who kept his word. This is not escape from the world, but protection within the world as the beast system rises. And you have to understand that the Most High is gonna do it in such a miraculous way. It's only to show his power, man. Just as, you know, I was watching that documentary about the Red Sea crossing, and the individual was going into it, how Jake got redirected to cross at a certain point to go across that Pacific crossing point. I think they said it was within the finger of the Nile, just to show his power, man. So Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua is going to show his power with the way that he preserves his men. Right? It says this is not escape from the world, but protection within the world as the beast system rises. Because a flood is coming, man. Which is not talking about a rushing of water, but the manner in which, you know, warp speed forces operate, man. You hear a little bit of that when it's, where you have these interviews of ex-military always talking about SAS or SOF, which is the special forces, and how the speed at which they move, that even decorated warriors commend. This is Isaiah chapter 59 verse 19. It says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, which is the western hemisphere, and his glory from the rising of the sun, because he's coming in the east, when the enemy, which is Esau and his forces, shall come in like a flood, which that word flood goes into armies. The spirit of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Harachachwadash, shall lift up a standard against him. And a standard is like, you know, a military company, a military unit. Let me make sure. Okay, so it says the word standard is nawaz, to cause to flee, which is a military counter-attack term, not a banner. Just say the word and I'll learn it. Yeah, so it's a military counter-attack term. And that standard that the Most High is going to implement is men with spiritual powers, man. That the unseen world is going to help them be able to do when the time is appointed. Breakdown, it says right here, now was to cause to flee, to put to flight, divine counterattack. So Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to cause a divine counterattack against these armies, man. And that's what you stupid women should be looking in a man for, one who has this truth. You know? Not that we proclaim that we have the truth on these social media sites or in person. You know, but it should be evident in the spirit that there's something different about this individual, man. He ain't the same as everybody else. He ain't like one of them other niggas. You gotta treat him differently. Right? It says this is the battle of divine power. When Esau's system floods the streets with force, Yahweh raises a supernatural countermeasure. Nawaz means the spirit will make the enemy retreat. And how too far-fetched is that when they're retreating in the Middle East? And it always goes into the scriptures that their pride have deceived them. Their terribleness have deceived them. You know? It says each battle escalates, each trial prepares the elect for the next. Jacob's trouble is not a single event, it's a sequence, a refining gauntlet, ending with Yahweh's victory and the fall of the nations. So, you know the gravity of the things that is to take place. Oh, I see what I fucking did. That's cool though, because we already well over an hour. So, you know, going back to the theme of this camp, man, is there's no citations on experience, man. You know? So with that, I hope at least one brother of the Bakiyah, the elect, was edified. And I'm going to say shalom, man. Can't cite experience.